So I thought I would do a kind of tutorial on how we can customize an Agendio. Now I'm not going to be able to do everything, but I thought I would kind of hit on some of the things that some people miss, or that I've seen that some people miss when they are customizing. So this is just sort of a little bit of a walkthrough. So if you go to the Agendio site, obviously this is agendio.com. You're going to see that they have this arrow that directs you to scroll downwards, right? So as you scroll downwards, they're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the different things that you can do. These things can be really helpful to read because what they're going to do is they're going to give you sort of a clue in as to all the different things that you can customize in different ways, because sometimes they can be hidden on the site, not because they mean them to be hidden. It's just there's so many things that you can do. Sometimes you don't even know to look to see if you could do that. I think that's what I hear most often, is that people don't even know that they could potentially do something, so they don't even look to see if they could because it didn't occur to them. So for example, this one is giving you the options of no lines, solid lines, square checkboxes, circle checkboxes with some dotted lines, to which you could also have just dotted lines without circles, or dotted lines with squares. And then there's also the kind of checkbox that is a vertical line that just creates a little bit of a box on the side, which again, that can all be done in the dashed lines as well, the dotted lines as well. So that's just one example. There's another arrow right over here that you can see. If you hit this arrow, it'll actually take you over to more of their features. Some people don't realize that this is also an option. So for example, they have something called divisibles. And so there's a lot of terminology that they like to use, but don't get freaked out by that. They needed to have a way to be able to categorize things for themselves and the people who create the website, because it is so interactive. And so, for example, here, you can take a section and you can split it up multiple different ways. I mean, the combinations are just endless. So they've been using things like to do and work and waiting for, but anything that you see, any of this text, you can change this to say anything you want. If this was, you could maybe put work, but you could also just put the name of your work. Say you worked in two different places. Say you worked at, a Target and McDonald's. You could put Target and McDonald's. You can put anything that you want in those, and you can split them up. As you can see here, they've got it split up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? You could also split it up one more time, and that would make it 8. So you have a total of 8 splits that you could potentially do in one of these sections, which is this sort of tall, vertical kind of column-like section. If we go over to the next one, these are extra pages. This is pretty much endless, and I won't be able to spend a ton of time on this because in truth, it really can be anything you want it to be. As you can see here, they have quite a few different options. You could have habit trackers. You could have musical. If you write music, you could actually have music bars set in. You could have different days of the week for meal planning. You could have, I think they've got vitamins in here, different trackers. Then they've got lined pages, they've got gridded pages, they've got dot grid pages, they've got contact pages. You could have stuff in, budget type stuff. There's literally anything that you can possibly think of, and they have some templates for you. And the best part, what I like, is I actually have gone through some of the templates to see if just the arrangement is something that I'd want. Maybe the wording is different. I think there was one on goals or something where I liked the way the template was because it was going to work for my Etsy shop, but I didn't like any of the words because I wasn't going to use it as a goals or tracker or anything like that, a reflection page. I just wanted the layout, and I was able to customize all the words and completely change it so it wasn't a reflection page anymore. Now it had to do with keeping track of things with my Etsy shop, but the layout it already had the layout pre. So I would recommend doing that too. See if the templates might work for you, and then you could just change the wording however you want. So they also have the personal year. So you can kind of customize things depending on where you want them. Sometimes in the front, sometimes in the back, different things. These are a lot of those templates that I was talking about. But again, every single one of these sections that I'm highlighting here with the cursor, all of those can be any words that you want. They can be your own words. They're totally customizable. And so it doesn't necessarily, even this top bar, you can customize that to say whatever you want it to say. So there's also the activities. So most people are aware that you can put in birthdays, holidays, anything like that, right? But you can also put in recurring things. So if you've got something that happens on the first of every month, or the last day of every month, or a specific day of every month, or you have something that happens every other week on a certain day, right? All of those things can be put in here. Now, sometimes you do have to put them in more than once. For example, if something happens, bi-weekly or something like that, you might need to put in something twice in order for their algorithms to work, but it explains all that on the page. And what's great is it will print it out for you where you want it. So you can tell it, I only want it on my monthly spreads, or I only want it on my weekly or my daily spreads, but not on my monthly, or I want it everywhere so I don't forget about these things. And you also get to choose where they're located for the most part. Sometimes people want them top at the bottom. There's different placements of them, especially in the monthly section. You can kind of customize where on that box in the monthly that you want these to show up. And it also changes based on whether or not it's a holiday versus a task, a to-do, right? They'll also separate those out. So those can be in different spots if you don't want them all to be stacked. Like I know for me, I have my tasks, the things that I have to do on one side of the box, and then I have holidays or birthdays or things like that on the other side. All right, and so then if we look at the next section, you also are able to start whatever day that you want. You literally can choose any day that you want, which is really, really awesome for people who maybe don't have a conventional schedule or who have a really specific way of wanting to look at their weeks. And then we move over, and then it's also your schedule. So most people don't realize this either, but it's not just, that you can switch these boxes into different sections, but you can also switch how you see them. So as you can see here, they've got it starting their day, they've got 10 a.m. to 11, right? And this person has it from 8 to 7. Now, if you notice, this only has dotted lines, right? Because this person didn't want these extra lines in here, where this person might have wanted to have these solid black lines and then these dashed lines. Then this one wanted a typical 3-box spread, which, by the way, the morning, afternoon, evening, you can customize that to say whatever you want it to say, or to say nothing at all. Keep that in mind. There's also the line sections, right? And again, the AM and PM, you can customize that to say whatever you want it to say. If you want to say home and work, you could do that. Or you could, you have this entire bar, so there is a character limit, but you can, you can put in most things, whatever you want it to say. The other thing that's kind of nice is you can change this around. So this looks to me like it's a teacher schedule, more than likely. And like classes and block scheduling. But if you've got a different schedule than everybody else, or you want to know when certain things are happening and already have it pre-written in, like say, for example, that every day at 5 a.m. or something, you're going to go to the gym, you could write gym instead of 5 a.m. because that's your time, if you really wanted to. And so you can do all of these things. Again, then we go over, there's also shading. Okay, so this is really cool because you get to pick all these different sections. You get to decide if it gets shaded or not. That is really, really cool. And the best part is if you're picking, like for a month, if you're picking a color, right, then it all gets shaded in that color. And then the next month, whatever color you picked for that month will be shaded in that color as well. So that's really, really neat that you get to pick your shading. And what I like is that it visually delineates different sections. And so it can really help keep you organized because it doesn't all then appear sort of as a as a jumble. You can really delineate, okay, my priorities are going to be, shaded this color, or I'm going to have unshaded for this, right? Two more. And then also the monthly tabs. I highly recommend getting monthly tabs. You can add your own tabs, absolutely, but I know it costs more, but man, the tabs make a difference, and they're well constructed, high quality tabs. So I highly recommend them. And again, you have some options in your tabs. So for one, you get to pick your colors. That's an awesome one. Now you can have it all the same color if you want, or you can have them all different. Have it be something that's specific to you. I know one person does it if somebody's birthday is that month, then whatever color that they love, they do it. For my personal one, I did a rainbow, so that when I look down the line of all of my months, I see a rainbow. And then you could also have it not colored, and you can also change how you want it to be written. So for example, this one is written out the full month, just like this one written out the full month, but notice this one has upper and lowercase, while this one is all uppercase. And then this one has just the 3 letters, the abbreviation, right, in all uppercase. So you really get to customize how you want those tabs to be seen. And then you can include 2 additional tabs at the end of your planner, and you can put whatever you want in that section. That is, you get to decide what tabs, what those are going to be for you, and what you want to put in those sections. And the final one here is your spanning pagelets. And so this is a really good example here of how to use a spanning pagelet. Personally, so you can see in this version, they kind of have it written in the center of these lines. I personally write on the line itself because I tend to write askew if I don't write on lines. And so I then just color in the line all the way over to whenever I need it to be. I really enjoy this section for that reason. And what it also is a nice section if you want to put in decor. If you don't end up using it, it's a perfect place to put decor for the week, because you could put quotes along it, or decor pieces, or even washi. I like to use bottom washi for Erin Condren kits, sort of in this section. So, but it's really a great tool, especially for when you have a multi-day thing that you're going to be doing, or you want to be able to work on something for a couple days. This is a really, really good section, fun section. Okay, so we've kind of gone through most of the things that you can go through. And so now I'm going to kind of show you some of the options. Now here, they are going to give you sort of a process, and I do recommend, if it's your first time, go ahead and read it. Get yourself something to drink, get yourself something to eat, and sit down with this website for a while. This isn't you're making a planner to fit your life. The more time you put into making this planner, the better it's going to work for your life. And so it's not a simple click, 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 and you're done. They want you to spend time on this. And they want you to really force yourself to figure out how you plan. Because if you figure out how you plan best, you are more likely to plan and more likely to accomplish the goals, because you've made it personal. You've made it how you operate. And so let's scroll down. As you can see here, one of their pictures, this is one that is really, really popular with working professionals, because it looks super professional in meetings and things like that, because the spiral is covered. This option is not available once you start getting into the really thick or chunkier versions, just because, again, this would become a little unwieldy. I personally prefer the spiral bound. I've just been in one for so long, the silver spiral bound that's very comparable to a Lime Life, a Plum Paper, and Erin Condren, and they do offer that as well. It's just this is one of their unique options. You can also get just inserts from them too, and that's always an option. And as you can see, I just mentioned inserts, so Filofax, Franklin, Daytimer, other binders, any different ring binders, and they also offer notebooks as well. And so here are you can kind of see their inserts there in some ring binders in the picture, but here are their planners. So let's click on Start Your Planner. And so we've got a couple different ways to go. Let's go ahead and click on a standard planner. Let's just dive right in, shall we? All right. And so you can see examples of layouts, and they're going to kind of if you hover over things, it shows you how many different things you can really kind of do while you're customizing. But let's go ahead and let's just go in and let's select one, shall we? Let's make this happen. So right away, you're going to be faced with a decision. There's going to be a lot of decisions along the way. So don't get nervous. You can always hit the back button. This back button up here, I know I'm in Safari right now, but if you're in any other Chrome or whatever, there's always a back button. So just remember that can be your friend. So first you have dailies, then you have weeklies, then you have monthlies. Okay. Now keep in mind that just because it says a weekly planner doesn't mean that you don't get a monthly. Just because it says daily doesn't mean that you don't get a monthly. You can still get that. It just means what is the most pages you want, right? So it basically daily starts at the most amount of pages, right? And then it goes down to weekly, then it goes down to monthly. But you can still include everything below it in the daily. And let me show you how. So yes, they have your daily only planners. That means no monthly, no weekly. It is just each day. Boom. But look here, now you have a weekly daily planner. So you're going to have 2 weeks. See how it has your W's here? And then you're going to have your days of the week, all the days of the week. And in this case, Saturday and Sunday are going to be combined into one page. This one, you have week on one page, right? And then you've got a whole page for all of your dailies where Saturday and Sunday are not combined. Okay? Now for this, they're going to tell you what you can get, right? You couldn't get it in a 6-month or 12-month, and you can only do it in that spiral bound, similar to the Erin Condren, right? So that one that we were saying before that has that wrapped binding, again, dailies are not going to be able, because they're just so large, to be able to be in that wrapped. So then we go here now, well, say you just want your month and your day. So then you come down here and we have 3 different options. So you can do your month on 2 days with then your days plus your Saturday, Sunday. You can do your month on 2 days plus your days, all your days on one page, and a notes page at the end, which, remember, anytime that there's a notes page, that is, like we talked about before, where you can literally customize every little bit of it. You could start with a template and then change all the wording, or you could literally create it from scratch with all those divisibles, all those little sections we talked about. You can do it from scratch. And then the third option for monthly daily is you have your month on 2 pages, then you have 2 note pages. So after every month you have 2 note pages, and then you'd have your daily with your Saturday, Sunday on one page. So then if we look at this, our monthly daily ones now have a wrap cover option. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. Whereas up here, we only had our spiral bound, but down here, now we're able to start getting into our wrap covers because they're 6 months, right? Okay. So that is our next option. And so then we go down, and now we have, and this is brand new for them. Actually, they just, I think they launched this just last week. And today is the 15th of November, 2018. And so this is a monthly, weekly, daily planner. So this is someone who really needs as much as they possibly can in their planner. Now, the only thing that they don't have in this is notes pages. And I think they're doing that mainly because you just have so much extra space in the dailies. So they're thinking that maybe in your weekly, that's where you'll put some notes. But just keep in mind that you can add notes pages to the front and the back of your planner as well. But the 2 options they have are basically that you can have your daily, you can have your Saturday, Sunday on one page, and then you get 2 days for your weekly, right? A weekly spread on 2 pages. Or you can have a weekly spread on just 1 page, and you can have all 7 of your days have their own, okay? So those are some of your options. And again, those become only spiral bound only because they obviously have so much, because you are having that monthly as well in there, okay? So then if we scroll back up, those are all our dailies. Now let's look at our weeklies. So weekly only, very similar to the daily only, right? Except that you're going to start seeing more notes pages. And the reason why you're going to start seeing them is because a daily includes so many pages that they're not able to accommodate as many notes pages into a daily, just by the sheer nature that it is it's already going to be a super thick planner. So as we move into the weekly ones, you're going to see more and more of the notes pages. Okay, so first one is you could just get just weekly, literally 2 pages for each week. That's it. No months in this. Notice there's no of the purple M's. So if you click on this, you will not be getting a monthly spread. So keep that in mind. And then obviously you have different notes page options for how many pages you might want after your weekly. Now we go into, this is probably one of the most popular styles, I would say, for planners, because this is a typical spread that you're going to see in most popular planners. Monthly, weekly planners are, that's an Erin Condren, right? Most Plum Papers, Lime Life, most of those planners are all what an Agendio would call a monthly, weekly planner. That is when you have a month on 2 pages, month spread, and then you would have a week on 2 pages. So that's your weekly spread. So Agendio kind of goes a step further with these monthly weeklies, and they give you some options for notes pages, because people like to be able to do different things after notes pages. Personally, I really love being able to have a weekly menu planning page after each week. That way I can put in all week long, I can just flip the page, and right there I have my grocery list. I can write things down as the week goes on, as I use things up, and I need them. And so that at the end of the week, when I do my grocery shopping, I can look and go, oh, okay, here's all the things that I need. Here's all the things I ran out of and the things I need to pick up. And I can do my menu planning for the next week right then and there, right in my planner. And so, and I get one every single week. So I don't have to have an additional planner to be able to do this. It's already loaded in there. And so something that might give me the option to do that would be these last 3 ones. So anytime that you see these ends, you can see these kind of darker pink, darker coral colored ends after the week. That means after every single week, I will have 2 pages of notes. Same thing with this one. After every single week, I have 2 pages of notes. And after this one, I'll have 4 pages of notes. Now, the difference between this and this are that after the month, I will have 2 pages of notes after each monthly. This can be really good if you have certain things that you want to do monthly and set up, whether it's goals or kind of future planning for the whole month that you want to do, maybe budget. I know a lot of people put budget pages after each month because they're budgeting out for the whole month. And so this option can be a really great one. Some people just want pages right after their month, and that's it. Same thing with this. And some people don't need the ones, for example, these 2, they don't need anything after the month. They only want stuff after each week. And so when you look at these, it really depends on which one that you get, whether or not you're able to get a wrap cover. What is nice is that they do offer a 6-month version. I do recommend thinking about a 6-month, just because your planning style, unless you are really, really sure how you plan, Agendio, because it gives you so many customizations, it allows you to plan in ways that you never thought you could plan before. It really makes you think about that planning. And by doing a 6-month, my guess is most people, and I run the Agendio Planner Fans Planner Facebook group, and most people say that after a couple weeks working with their planner, they realized, oh, I would have loved to have added this, or I would have loved to added that. And by doing a 6-month, it kind of gives you a chance to try it out for those 6 months, and then you can order the same planner again if you want, or you can make some adjustments and some tweaks, which can be really helpful. So I do recommend checking it out and just considering doing a 6-month, especially if it's your very first planner. So those are all the options when it comes to your weekly planners. We'll slightly, touch on monthly here. There's not many. There's 4. But it's basically just, do you want months? Do you want months with a couple notes, 4 notes, and then 6 note pages? And that's it. Very, very simple. So let's go to weekly, since it does seem to be one of the more popular ones. And let's go ahead and go to this one. This is the one that I currently am using, right? So I'm going to select it. Now, anytime in which you've selected something, it will make it blue, and it will put a check there so that you know you've selected it. But what it's saying though is by doing this and by not bringing you to another page, it's saying there's still things that you need to select on the page. So if you click on something and nothing happens, it didn't bring you to another page, it means there's still things on that page that you need to select before you can move on to the next step. So in that case, it makes us scroll down. And so at this point, they want you to choose a size. What's nice is they give you these options. Journal size, I think, is about, I think this is an A5 size. Medium, of course, is the exact same size as Erin Condren. And then the large is a standard piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. And what is nice about this is it really does span the gamut. It's small, medium, and large. It really is what you need. Now, I'm going to go with medium. That's what I use. But again, and there are some things that are, of course, available in the large size that you can't get in the medium. And there's some things in the journal size that you can't get, there's some things in the medium size you can't do in journal size. So just keep that in mind. And it's only just because of size. Obviously, some of the boxes where I said that you could do, 8 sections, might be able to do a little bit more in the large just because you have more room. But the premise is all going to be the same. So we're going to select that. And now it's going to ask us to go to step 3. So I'm going to click on that and it's going to bring me to the next step. All right. It doesn't like my Safari, apparently. So from here, this is where this is going to kind of outline everything and all of my customization. And so as I go through